I'm going to cry again. Y'all are going to make fun of me again, but go ahead, because there are some things that are worthy of tears. And I have been learning over the past few months that the Black community is more loving, more forgiving, more accepting than we have any right to expect them to be. And it's overwhelmed me in a good way. So a couple of months ago, I posted a video because I had been thinking about, why is it that throughout centuries on continents all over the place that Black people have been targeted for such horrific treatment and such oppression? Why this group? And the more I thought about it, I'm like, there's something special. They they have to, there's something special. Do you have some magic or some power? And I posted that as a question in the comments. I learned the answer in the comments, but not in the way you think. Now, there were people who gave me good information about historical concepts and things like that, and I'm still learning about that. But what I mean is, in the way they responded to my comments, I can see that there is something special, and that is just by genuinely asking a question, because I want to stop it. I want the world to be different. I don't want this to happen again, and people keep being treated like that. The vast majority of the Black people who commented on my video were so like, we love you, sis. Here's what you need to know. Or, just for asking the question, we love you and we accept you. And I'm like, I got mad at somebody at the HEB for cutting in front of line of me. And you can forgive, a whole race of people when we come to you and say, we're sorry and we want to learn. That level of love and acceptance and forgiveness is really jaw-dropping to me, and that shows me a bit of what I was asking. Yes, there are other gifts and talents and historically things that set the Black race apart, but I saw in my comments how kind, how loving, I mean, almost to a degree that I can't even fathom. And I go back and read those comments a lot, and I want to just thank everybody who took the time to speak to me. A couple of you were like, why are you so nervous in this video? I was nervous because these are conversations that I want to have, but I'm not sure I know how to start them or have them without being offensive, because I know there are all kinds of things. I am just learning the roots of certain words that I say, that I grew up saying, that I had no idea were racist. And so I'm a little bit terrified, because I want to learn. I want you guys to adopt me. It's what I want, but I want to learn, and I'm afraid that I don't even have the right words to start the learning. But and some of that in my video was sadness and shame. Sadness and shame that I knew racism was real. I mean, I've worked in the criminal justice system, and I have seen it firsthand. But I missed so much until I started raising biracial children. And I'm ashamed that it took it being personal to me before I realized how deep the racism ran. So to all of you who took the time to comment, and those of you who have been so kind, and to the few of you that said, we don't trust you and we're not giving you our secrets, I respect you too. I wouldn't trust me if I were you. That's why the majority of people who are so free to say, come on in, sis, we got you. It has meant more to me than I can say. Thank you. Go love your neighbor.
For years, negative stereotypes have shaped how many people view Black people. But sometimes the most powerful stories came from personal experiences. In this video, you will hear people from different racial backgrounds share how Black individuals showed them kindness, protection, support, and compassion during some of the most difficult moments of their lives. Their stories challenge common assumptions and offer a different perspective, one built on real life experiences. Stay tuned as we listen to these heartfelt testimonies and the lessons they reveal about humanity, trust, and community. Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for clicking and thank you for stopping by. If you're new to the channel, do well to like, share and subscribe to the channel. Credit belongs to the original creators of each clip we're going to be using on this video. With that being said, let's dive right into the videos and I'll be back with the commentary.
White people don't look after each other. They rather will see you struggling, they don't want to help. But if you go to a black person, that black person is helping you. So we live together. Like, I've got black people here in front. They're staying, I don't have a problem, and that is also your biggest friends. But you know what? We stand together, and if the other people have problems, we stand with them. If we got problems, they stand with us. I live here for 11 years. It's a hard, tough time. We struggle a lot because we don't get pension, we don't work. We create work for ourselves, like cool drink bottles, tins, we're taking it to the scrap. That is how we make a living.
Black people saved me. And it's not some tagline. I was born on the streets of South Korea. I begged for money every day, door to door. I got taken from my biological family, put in a home, adopted or sold to an American family that had really great intentions. Really great intentions. But they were ill prepared and the system was just messed up. And life didn't really become easier, it became tougher. But black people saved me. Their culture, their music, their resilience. And one day, I hope everyone sees the beauty.
The black community literally saved my physical life multiple times when I was growing up. But I'm going to tell you about a time when I was 7. When I was a kid, my grandparents took my brother and I to a water park in Hot Springs, Arkansas. My brother was 3. He's also a redhead. And when I was a kid, you know, I'm older now, so my hair's got some white in it and stuff. But when I was a kid, and my features are all bleach blonde. These are just kind of remnants from Sunday when I filled them in. Anyway, my brother and I were full on redhead, freckles, the whole 9 yards. Yes, we endured all the horrible, hateful things that y'all have heard over the past week or so that people feel like it's okay to say to redheads. And also, we moved almost every year. New school almost every year. New set of questions almost every year. So, anyway, my grandparents took us to this water park in Hot Springs, Arkansas. And back then, you had to, I'm in my 30s, but back then, you had to pay for the inner tubes at this water park to use them in the wave pool. And my grandparents dropped my brother and I off, again, 3 and 7, dropped us off at the wave pool and said they would be back. They were going to go try to find some free inner tubes from somebody who was done using them so they didn't have to pay for them. This was a Saturday. It was packed. I mean, I'd grown up by the beach, so I went to the beach a bunch of times. So I thought, the wave pool is probably not any different than beach waves. I'm probably okay. So I swim out and I swim pretty close to the deep end. And the waves turn on and I find out how wrong I am about the power of these wave pools. They're very dangerous, by the way. And I got trapped underneath the sea of inner tubes. Now, like I said, I'm in my 30s, and this is when I was 7, and this is in Hot Springs, Arkansas. So it just kind of seemed like all the white people were in one section, and the black community was an entirely different section of the wave pool. And I didn't pay any attention to where I was, but I was kind of like in where those two groups would meet. I got trapped, and I remember trying to bob against the waves. Like, I would go up and they would go down, and trying to break through so I could breathe. And I could not break through the sea of legs and inner tubes, because every time I would come up, somebody thought I was trying to steal their inner tube. They saw me drowning, and would not pull me up because they thought I was trying to steal their inner tubes. I felt my lungs being crushed. I remember my hearing going out. I remember looking at the sun, and I remember feeling total peace. And then I passed out. Next thing I know, I'm being frantically pulled up on by a kid. I had drifted over to the section of the pool where the black community was largely swimming. Frantically pulled up by a student who had to have been maybe 10, 11 tops. And she was trying to get her friend to help pull me up. And she was saying, hold on, hold on, hold on. She was screaming. And she pulled me up and she gave me to her chaperone, who was a wonderful black woman. And I'm a 7-year-old kid, so I'm not a baby, but she put me on her hip and she walked me to the shore and laid me down, and I passed out again. Next thing I know, I am resuscitated and I'm surrounded by my grandparents, the EMTs, and the entire school trip that was there, the entire community. I've never forgotten that. And I've gone through life. I've lived in a lot of different places. I've lived in a lot of different cultures. And every time, the black community were the ones that took me in and cared for me and protected me, taught me, loved me, treated me well. I've been saying this. I know this is a trend on TikTok, but I know I've been saying this almost my whole life. I'm so grateful. So grateful.
So this is probably going to be very controversial. I feel more safe in a space shared with black men than I feel very unsafe in a space shared by white men. Now, before y'all get your panties in a wad and get all pissed off about this, when I am surrounded by a bunch of white men, I'm constantly looking around. I have no fear in a room full of black men. The reason why, when I go to the movies, I don't worry that a black man's gonna up the movie theater. When I go to my church, I don't worry that a black man's gonna the church. When I go to the mall, I don't worry that a black man's gonna the mall. When I go to my children's school, I don't worry that a black man's gonna the school. Black men will target 1 or 2 or 3 individuals. White men will go schools, movie theaters, churches, your grocery store. So before you say that you're worried about being surrounded by black men, you better think about that.
I love to talk to black people, the most helpful people in the world. At the end of every sentence, they always say, you know what I'm saying? They are checking to see if I'm understanding it. Really thoughtful. And I always answer, yeah, I know what you're saying. Thanks for checking on me. Next sentence, please.
See, let me explain, because I don't think black people realize how much of God's work they're doing right now. For no reason at all, they decided to extend an olive branch and just say, you know what, ginger folk, you guys are us. We want you over here. And we were like, we want to be over there. We're coming right over. And here we are. Growing up in school, being a redhead was not cool. We got made fun of. Raggedy Ann doll, redheaded stepchild. You look like somebody threw crap at you through a screen door. If my redhead's hearing this, they know what I'm talking about. They've all heard it. We got picked on. Another thing that's happened to me that you guys are just bringing full circle is growing up in a school prominently with white people, I listened to rap music. I happen to think black women were beautiful. So my entire high school career and growing up, it was, you know that you're white, don't you? Why don't you act your race? And black people said, you know what? You know what? Matter of fact, he is black. They are black. We want them over here. And you know what? We couldn't be happier than ever. We love you guys.
I miss black people. I know that sounds crazy, but I am from Georgia, and I used to go to HBCU, and the majority of my friends were black, and now I live in a small town in California, and I miss black people. There's not very many here, and I hate it. Like, don't get me wrong, I love my job, I love my friends here, but I miss black people. Don't come for me. I miss the culture, I miss the vibe, I miss the confidence, the jokes, the food. I miss black people. Something's missing in my life, and I've come to the conclusion that that's what it is. Okay, bye!
But do you really? Because you're naming everything that you miss about us, which is things we do for you, but actually missing us, I don't think you do. Now, don't get me wrong, we are Black Magic. We do bring culture. We do bring creativity. We do have a confidence. We do have an air about us. We just bring life to the party. We just it. And that's just what it is. But you realize that your life is very, 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 very mundane without us. And it ain't that you miss us. Like I said, it's you miss what we can do for you. You miss the entertainment of us. You miss the oh look type of thing. It's almost like a minstrel show for you. That's what I'm getting from this. And you say you know had black friends before and you went to a HBCU, I think, and you missed the entertainment value of us. You don't necessarily miss us. You miss the entertainment. You miss the fun that we could have. But we, as black people, we know how to be in a community of just us, and have a great time with just us. How is it that y'all don't know how to have a great time with just you? Why is it y'all always trying to infiltrate what we got going on? Remember when they had the Black Girl Beach Day, like across the states, and then white people was getting mad about that? Like, how would you guys feel if we had a only white beach day with no blacks allowed? Y'all had hundreds of years of that. You had your own country clubs. Heck, the United States was yours, and we wasn't invited into anything unless we were working for our ancestors. Unless our ancestors was working for y'all. That was the only time we was invited into an establishment or a whites only type of thing, and if we was working for y'all. But y'all want to be included in everything we do. I'm not saying I hate white people, because I don't. My family is full of different races. Okay? So I don't hate, I don't dislike, but I do know BS when I see it. And I'm gonna just call it how it is. Y'all be easy, be blessed. Let the Lord use you. Don't let nobody else, all right? Have a good day, and don't be nobody's entertainment.
A young black woman saved millions of lives, but there's a dark side to this story. In 1951, 31-year-old Henrietta Lacks noticed a lump in her abdomen. At the Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore, she was diagnosed with advanced cervical cancer. And although she sadly passed away from her cancer later that year, her cells lived on. The doctors who were treating her had taken cancer cells from her cervix without her consent and without her knowledge. He passed these cells on to Dr. Otto Gay, a cancer scientist working in the same hospital. What he found shocked him. Unlike normal human cells, which died off after a few generations of division, Henrietta's cells kept dividing without stopping. They were immortal cells. They never died, and no one knows why. He named these special cells HeLa cells after the first two letters of her name, Henrietta Lacks. These cells helped develop the polio vaccine, IVF, helping us with a COVID vaccine, and thousands more. The tragedy here is that her cells were taken without her consent. Her family were never compensated, and for years she was not credited or recognized.
Hey, black men, listen up. This is a black men appreciation post. So last week I posted a video about how I feel that black men are the only men that can rock out a bald look. Obviously you look great in all different kinds of hairstyles, but I said that I really think that you all look so great bald. And it got a bunch of views, and you guys made a ton of comments, and I actually made some money, and I did not think that that was going to be possible on TikTok. So thank you so, so, so much. Not only do I appreciate you for your kindness, for your generosity, for your intelligence, for your sense of humor, for your multiple contributions to society, but now I want to thank you wholeheartedly for a little money that came my way via TikTok through that video. So thank you so much. I'm gonna go take my kids out to dinner tonight.
Child, last week reminded me why black love is and will always be a superpower. Last week, essentially, I was saved by two black men on the light rail, y'all. A man was having a psychotic break, and child, things could have went a whole nother way. But they didn't. Two men who didn't know me from a can of paint, but they knew instinctively that I was their sister. They saw I needed help. They saw I needed protection. And something in them said, nah, bruh, not today. Not with our good sis. And baby, they looked like they was about that life. Because they had the I'ma whoop a motherfucker today stance. And I ain't mad at them. I ain't mad at them. I'm thankful. That right there, that's black love in action. And I mean action. Not theory. Not hashtags. Action. And baby, ain't nobody pull out their phone. They was ready to whoop ass. Because for so long, black folks have been indoctrinated, colonized, and conditioned to fear each other, side-eye each other, treat each other as threats, while trusting systems and people who have never done right by black folks. Never. They ain't done right by Latinx folks, by Asians, by indigenous folks. Hell, truth be told, they don't do right by their own. Yeah. All you need to do is a quick Google search. Baby, the receipts are there. Violence, domination, and subjugation have always been tools of the powerful and the elite. And the only reason they've been able to infiltrate our community is because we've been divided, baby. So don't get it twisted. But in the words of Dominique Morgan, imagine a world where black folks protected each other first, where we looked out for each other first, where we supported each other first, where we circulated the black dollar in our community first. Baby, imagine the wonder, the beauty, the power in that. And baby, I know we can come together collectively because we already did it. Remember when the ancestors whispered, rest, and set that ass down. And collectively, we set our asses down. Baby, that was global unity. That was community instinct. That was black love on a massive scale. So when I say black love is a superpower, baby, I mean just that. Literally. Full stop. It's the hedge of protection our ancestors built. It's the shield we carry. It's the thing that keeps us alive and tethered to each other in a world that benefits from our division. And baby, you can't convince me black love ain't a superpower. And I love that for us. I just need us to act on it. All right, black folks, drink your water. Stay rooted, real, and knowledgeable. And mind your black business. Happy Black History 365. And I'll see you next time.
The stories we just watched tell a side of conversation that often doesn't get enough attention. While the media often focuses on division and conflict, these individuals share personal experiences of kindness, protection, and genuine care they receive from Black people. One thing that stood out in many of these testimonies was hospitality. Time and time again, people spoke about being welcomed into Black homes, communities, and social cycles with open arms. Some describe being treated like family even when they were completely strangers. Others record moments when black individuals stepped in to help them during difficult situations, expecting nothing in return. What makes these stories powerful is that they come from real life experiences. These aren't statistics or headlines. These are personal accounts from people who felt supported, protected, and valued when they needed it most. Many even said they felt safer around black people than around members of their own racial groups because of the respect, warmth, and sense of community they experience. Of course, no group of people is perfect, and every community has both good and bad individuals. But these testimonies remind us why it is important to judge people based on their characters rather than stereotypes. Sometimes the stories we hear directly from people's lived experiences can reveal truths that are often overlooked. Now, we'd love to hear from you. Have you ever had an experience that challenged a stereotype you once believed? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video, share and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you on the next one.